right, welcome back, everyone. It's your boy, Dan Best. Um, so today's Q&R question is, why would a loving God send people to hell? There are a number of ways Christians have tried to answer this question. I'm just going to give you, for the sake of time, I'm going to give you one of them. But if this question is particularly interesting or troubling to you, please do some more research, come talk to me, whatever. Actually, don't come talk to me, send me a message. Social distancing. Okay, the perspective I'm going to give in this video is called annihilationism. It's probably been the minority perspective about hell, but I believe once you look at the evidence, it should be respected at least. People who believe in annihilationism say that the popular understanding of hell is actually wrong. Usually we think of hell as this sort of dark, fiery place where people sort of suffer forever. And they say that's wrong. They say hell is actually just where you go to stop existing. Poof, you're gone. It's just death. Hell is death. To say that is controversial, and it would make a lot of Christians uncomfortable to hear someone say that. But if you just look at the Bible, there's a lot of evidence for it from front to back. So I'm going to just rapid fire go through some of them. Right at the beginning, Genesis 2:17, God tells Adam and Eve, "Don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or you will certainly die." It's all through the Psalms. Psalm 37:20, the wicked will perish. The Lord's enemies are like flowers of the field. They will be consumed and go up in smoke. Poof, they're gone. All through the prophetic books of the Old Testament. Isaiah 1:31, the evil will disappear like straw. Their evil and evil works will burn up together. No one will be able to put out the fire. Nahum 1:10, the wicked will be consumed like straw. Keeps going into the New Testament. Matthew 7:13, Jesus contrasts, people who follow him are taking the narrow gate that leads to life. People who don't follow him are taking the easy way, which is the wide gate, which leads to destruction. Matthew 10:28. Jesus tells us not to fear those who can kill the body, but not the soul. Instead, we should fear God, who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell. Which makes it sound like hell is a place you just go to be destroyed, not somewhere you suffer forever. James 4:12, God is the only one with the power to save or destroy. 2 Peter 2:3, destruction awaits false and greedy teachers. Okay, that was just a brief list, but basically from front to back you can find stuff like this. Language that talks about, you are destroyed, you're consumed, you just sort of, somehow you stop existing. So the second thing to point out, though, is, from this perspective, annihilationists would say that we misunderstand other phrases of the Bible. So there's phrases like eternal punishment, eternal judgment, eternal destruction, and when we read that, we kind of think, oh, that must be like suffering for eternity. There's also phrases, when it's talking about hell that kind of say it's an unquenchable fire, burning up the dead, or an undying worm that is eating the dead. People are sent to hell, will weep and gnash their teeth. So it's these sort of suffering images, and we think, oh, they must be like weeping and grinding their teeth forever because they're suffering so much. But we sort of assume that these images are talking about suffering forever, but they actually don't say that clearly. You know, it says the worm, this metaphorical worm that sort of feeds on the dead bodies will live forever, but it actually doesn't say the dead bodies will live forever. It says, the fire that consumes dead bodies is unquenchable, but it actually doesn't say that the dead people are living forever. Um, Phrases like eternal punishment, eternal judgment, eternal destruction could all just mean you're dead for eternity and you ain't coming back. It doesn't mean you're suffering for eternity. So, yeah, you know, maybe you hear that and it sounds convincing, and it also sounds, slightly comforting, better than the, more traditional view of hell. Um, and so take what you will. I encourage you to look into it more and just follow the evidence where it leads. Uh, Next time you're reading the Bible and you come across some passage that's talking about hell or God's judgment, after death or whatever, just ask yourself, like, does this passage clearly say, that uh, people who, you know, uh, refuse God will suffer forever? Does it, like, clearly say that? Or could it just mean they die? Um, so, like I said, that's just one of other possible answers. I will post in the YouTube video info below some links to a more traditional answer coming from someone who believes in a more traditional view of hell. And I will see you next time.